Welcome to the channel. I wanted to talk to you about an audio cassette that was passed through our high school in the winter of 1981. So there was a pastor from Durham, North Carolina named Albert Long, and at the time I didn't realize this, but he had spoken at Vestavia Hills High School here in Birmingham, and the tape was, and his talks were all about the satanic messages in rock music, backward masking, and subliminal suggestion in rock music. And the tape got to John Carroll. People would make copies of it, and it kind of circulated, and it was quite the buzz. And I think it also made its way to Barry. I'm not sure how many other high schools a copy got to, but eventually, it created enough of a buzz that one of the local radio stations, WERC's Tim Lennox, invited Mr. Long to be on. I happened to be one of the callers, and luckily I recorded it. Luckily I'm a pack rat, and so I've got it. So I'm at the end of this, I'm going to play the little clip of me at age 14 calling the radio station for the first time. A little bit of East Tennessee comes out. I sound pretty country, although I may sound pretty country to a lot of you now. But so let's talk about this a little bit. The backward masking is this idea that artists put messages on their albums when the albums are played in reverse. Now, most of the examples he gave were garbled nonsense. One of the examples I remember was Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Allegedly, when you play it backwards, it says, "Here's to my sweet Satan, whose path makes me sad." It sounded like it could be anything. The only example he ever gave that was pretty crystal clear that it was on purpose was ELO's Fire on High. When you play it backwards, I'm going to leave a link to another YouTube channel where it gives that example so you can hear it. In reverse, it's crystal clear. It says the music is reversible, but time is not. I don't know what that means. But so I would imagine ELO leaked this and let somebody know it was there, otherwise it would never be found. And so when I asked the question, why does nobody ask these bands about this? This is kind of what I had in mind, like that in particular, and I didn't verbalize it very well. But so that's backward masking. To me, it's a lot of garbage. The subliminal messaging, this controversy about backward masking and subliminal messaging in satanic music, this led to Tipper Gore and the PRNC Senate committee hearings. And I remember, I think it was Rob Halford who famously said, if we were going to put subliminal messages in our music, it wouldn't be to kill yourself, it would be to buy multiple copies of our albums, which I thought was pretty funny. And then the other part of that, the overly sexual or violent or, rock music is for adolescents. That's the target market. Albert Long's not the target market. I think Lemmy from Hawkwind and from Motorhead famously said, make what you make. Rock and roll music is about rebellion. If the parents hate it, great. Fly to the flagpole and see who salutes. It's about rebellion. You're not supposed to get it. So these artists, they're trying to reach their target market, and even the numbers that he himself bring up about AC/DC going platinum overnight for those about to rock, the Stones Still Life tour selling out 100,000, 200,000 in 2 nights. Those ticket prices sound pretty good, $14 and $17, pretty crazy. But that shows that they're very effective at reaching their target market, and that's what it's all about. So, this whole thing was kind of nonsense, but it was quite the stir back in 1981. I've never found the original tape. I've just found a couple versions of this, or a couple recordings of this radio show, and I only had a part of it. So I've got the part, I'll put it at the end of me calling in. I'll throw that on the end of the video so you can listen in. But the original, the one that circulated around the schools, I've never found. So if you've got memories of this, please comment, let me know if you remember it. And if somebody, one of my holy grails is I'd love to get the original and throw that up on my YouTube channel so people could listen to it if they wanted to. But if you have that would be awesome too. So please let me know. But appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed this. And here comes the video.
Let's take one phone call.
Yes,
and
sir.
Start off here now. It's 13 minutes after 10 o'clock. Good morning. You're on the air with Albert Long.
Mr. Long, I've listened to your cassette several times. I picked it up from a friend, and I was wondering how come no one's asked these rock groups about these tapes.
Let me tell you, that's a very interesting question you have here. There's a local television station right here in Durham that has done a 6.5-minute segment, you know, on what I've done. And they haven't put it on yet because it comes on right before 60 Minutes does here in Durham. And since all the NFL games are, you know, on today, they're not going to run it until probably the end of this month, after the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And they, from what I've understand, a couple of people down there have written letters to the managers of groups like AC/DC and Black Sabbath and you know, Led Zeppelin and groups like this, and have gotten no response whatsoever. Incidentally, let me tell you this. You'll be interested in knowing this. Right there in your school, right there in Birmingham at Vestavia Hills High School, one of the classes there has got a project that they're using on this, which just thrilled me to death when I was down there with them. And they have written to a number of these groups to try to get their, you know, answers to these things and what they're going to say and how they're going to defend it. And I wish I could remember the teacher's name there at Dr. McDaniel's school, you know, at Vestavia Hills.
Yes.
But they're working on this as a project, and I know they've written about 6 or 8 groups, and I told them that I had a feeling they might hear from one, but I don't believe they would hear from any type of defense. I think they might hear say, well, you know how it is today. This is what we got to do. We've got to do these for the young folks, so we might as well. I'm just curious to know what happened, and she's promised me that she's going to let me know if any of them do respond to these letters that they have written about it.
Well, I attend a Catholic high school here in Birmingham, John Carroll High School, and we played the tape several times for one of our history classes. One of the teachers let us play it, and the AC/DC concert's coming to Birmingham very soon.
Yes.
And I know several of my friends that just listen to this, they're not going now.
Yes. Well, let me say one thing to you, if you don't mind. And Tim, I know we discussed this before. When people say to me, like when we finished all of this and it came out and my boy said, okay, Dad, I've never seen you work on anything as hard in my life as I've seen you work on this. And my point of view is you'd realize you're not going to keep young people from buying these records. And I said, yes, I do realize I'm not. But one of them said to me, well, Dad, really and truthfully, what's your purpose now? I said, my purpose is to expose. I'm not interested in getting any of these things. And Tim, you know, you've read about a lot of these where let's all get together and burn our records. You know, I'm not interested in that. I really hope that the exposure that I am trying to present today is going to keep people from listening to it. But I'm not interested in let's all gather together and burn our records. My purpose is that the Lord has been very, very good to me. He's blessed me with a super ministry. He's just done so many things for me. He's made me a better person, a better husband, a better father. And I know what he means to me, and my purpose on this is to expose it. So let me just give you an answer to that question when you said some of my people are not going to go. Isn't it incredible to think that AC/DC's new record, which just came out, was platinum overnight? Can you believe that?
Oh, no.
Was platinum overnight. And I want to tell you something. I'm going to talk with Tim later on to see if he will give me permission, and he may not want me to, but I'm going to ask him if he'll give me permission to quote some words from one of AC/DC's records, which is "Give the Dog a Bone." But I had a person to call me yesterday, this is kind of unusual, and said, hey, if you think the words "to give a dog a bone" is bad, you wait till you hear the new record on one of the songs in the new record is entitled Big Balls.
Yeah.
Now, if Tim, I know you haven't heard it yet. I haven't even heard it either. But anyway, when we're talking about this, we're exposing it, and people see this is what concerns me about the youth of our country today, Tim. The Rolling Stones, as you so well know, come back in this country. They go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and in 2 nights they had close to 200,000 people out for this concert, paying anywhere from $14 to $17 regular price, not counting what was scout. The next day in Buffalo, New York, in the Little Mist, there were 70,000 people. And now AC/DC, which is one of the most satanic groups that there is today, who proudly tell you what they do, particularly Angus Young. And here they've come out with a new record, and it became platinum, Tim. Platinum overnight. Isn't that incredible?
They're very successful.
Yes, sir. But it really concerns me that the youth of this country today grab this stuff, want this stuff. This is what their gods are today.
Well, let me thank our caller, and we have many other calls holding. So
okay, Tim, let me say one more thing before he leaves. One of the things that most of these people that are buying all these records have no idea in the world what it's all about. It's just a hard rock music. They grab it and they have no idea what AC/DC, for instance, we're picking on them now, but it's the #1 group right now, maybe to pick. They have no idea what these people stand for.
And the parents too, right?
The parents are worse. The young folks have more idea than the parents do. The parents just sort of, put it off and they don't pay much attention to it. Okay, thank you. Nice talking with you, and thank you for calling in.
Okay.